Alright, hello everyone. We are back for another master's guide here. So, pretty standard bag here for hole number one. The biggest thing I'm worried about, I'm probably going for the green. So, basically just driver and ball. I'm assuming, what did I use yesterday? I think Berserker. And barely got there. So I would assume similar if I try it again. But I just want to kind of show you what will happen more than anything. What to expect. Yesterday I did it with, a POC 7. So today we only have a POC 5. So keeping that in mind, we're going to have the exact same land zone, but we need to make sure that the wind angle is also similar. So if you're going to go right, make sure that you have the right wind angle for your wind. Otherwise, you can wind up, in a lot of trouble. For instance, if you don't reach that fairway on that first bounce, you're probably going to have enough topspin that it's going to bounce the rough and go into the water. So quite a different result than the eagle. If you're back on the tee, you could very easily wind up with a par on this one. So just something to consider. Also something else to consider, if you do go left, the longer you drive it, the straighter the wind you can give yourself, and you can potentially give yourself a nice straight short iron into the green. The only thing I worry about that is, in my opinion, it's not as easy as the pitch. So that's the biggest thing I worry about when I think about doing that, is that I'm worried about not the easiest of pitches. But notice I did put my claw on just in case, which will give me that full backspin capability. I don't usually do a backspin shot on this, but being that it would be very, very downwind, I would be half tempted to try it, because I'm a little worried that with all that extra momentum, it's going to be very hard to make it in the front. So, but it looks like we did get downwind here, so probably going to unload a little bit here. One of the things I do want to keep in mind for you guys is I'm going to go very, very straight with my topspin. And that's a pretty standard thing for me to do. Additionally, with a POC 5, I'm probably going to go pretty close to 14 rings here, is what 5, 10, somewhere in here, 13, 14. I'll try to ride the wind a little bit as opposed to countering it. And there you see a great ball. Hopefully it doesn't cost me. At the very worst, I'd really like to get it out of the bunker. So, but you can see how tough that's going to be with a POC 5. 14 rings might have been an overplay there for a POC 5. Maybe 13. It's pretty close, though. What I just did was pretty close. I did great ball at left, so you got to keep that in mind. So I did have an extra ring there. And with that, in addition to the one ring pull plus maybe one ring extra too many. So probably, 13, somewhere around 13 rings for that 16 wind. And that was kind of best case scenario wind. That 16 means that it was at least 18 and a half. So keep that in mind also, because you're going to see that you could very easily, not hit it far enough. So let me try to size this up real quick. That's about 4 per ring, 8 per ring, somewhere in there. The way that I usually come at this is with quite a bit of left spin, just to kind of hold the line. Additionally to that, just like I mentioned, I'm going to go about 2 rings. Right around, 7, 8 per ring, somewhere in there for my ring adjustment. And I did catch perfect ball, so let's see. Let's see. Nope, not quite. It was just a little bit more than 2 rings. So something worth keeping in mind for you guys. But in my opinion, you know, that is going to be, it's so straightforward and so little wind to have to play that if you think you have enough wind angle to hit that fairway and get it to where I just did, I do highly recommend going that way. The biggest reason is, you know, basically just what I just said about, you know, having to go so little on the ring adjustment. If I would have just gone a fraction more of a ring, I would have had that. And I think I went virtually spot on too. So you guys could assume, if you have Spitfire 4, you know, that would be your ring adjustment. Or something with, what's my accuracy, 60? If it's not 60, you're going to have to modify that ring adjustment a bit. You could use more of a reference. Now, you can't really use a reference aim without me. I didn't look at the pin, so I don't think you got to see a good look at what I set up to do there. Let me see if I can help a little bit. So if that was 60% accurate, for example, my win per ring would have probably been more like 5 per ring. So let's say I was using 100 accuracy Malibu, I would probably have to go at least 3 rings, maybe 3 1/4. So just something to kind of help you guys out in case you wanted it. That would be more or less what you're looking at for a wind adjustment. And you can see kind of what I'm doing here. You know, it's going to be very, very hard to A, stop this, and B, get it to kind of straighten out. So you see I'm using about 3.5 side spin. Additionally, you know, I don't usually use a max adjustment on this hole, but I'm going to here. So that was very close to a 15 ring adjustment. Let's see what that looks like. I hit it. It is coming in too hot though, and it just got over that mound. Had it not got over that mound, it would have funneled back to about 3. Wouldn't have been that bad. Oh, I would have won probably. So it was the difference between winning and losing. Just a few fractions of a hair, because I'm pretty sure I would have came in under 3 if it would have just hit the top of that downslope there instead of just rolling over it. But more impressively, you know, I'm just happy with hitting it. You know, in retrospect, had I had a little bit more time, you know, I would have been thinking about how much into power I was, and I probably would have went at least an extra ring or 2. To be honest with you, I just kind of lost my head there. And, you know, had I done that, 2 extra rings would have, you know, on a 15 win, 17 rings would have probably been the number. So, anyway, good luck there, guys. It's not about the shootout anyway. Keep in mind those tips that I gave you, and you know, in terms of wind adjustment from the sand, I think I got pretty nice approximation. If you want to throw on Malibu or whatever, 100% accuracy club, you know, probably 5 per ring from that bunker. Where I was, it was a little bit under. You need to go at least a ring more than I just did, maybe a ring and a half, you know, 3.5 ring adjustment from that bunker with 100% accuracy. So keep that in mind, and good luck. See you guys on the next one.